Is it possible for one habit to change the course of your future a year from now, 2 years from now, or even 5 years from now? It is. And this one powerful habit is so simple, you can actually start doing it today. Have you ever looked back at a decision that you made in the past and thought, I am so glad that I did that? I think that we've all had those moments. But what if you could consciously make those decisions and ensure that they consistently lead you towards the future that you desire? That's the power of the habit that I'm about to reveal to you. Hi, I'm Rose Colburn, and welcome to my channel, where today I'm unlocking one of the most important keys to becoming your future self. I'll show you what this powerful habit is, what it truly means to become your future self, and why it's crucial for your personal growth and fulfillment to consciously make decisions that will affect your future self. But first, let's address two questions that you might have. First of all, is this habit difficult? And is this just about setting and achieving goals? So the answer to both of these is no. It's not difficult to implement this habit. And while goals are important, this habit goes beyond simple goal setting. So what kind of an impact can implementing this one simple habit have on your life? What if I told you that you could improve your own financial security, create stronger relationships, reduce stress in your life, and so much more? So let me share with you an example from my own life. Several years ago, I was at a transition point in my life. All my children, they had graduated, and all but one of them had moved out of the house. For years, I had thought about moving to a state with a warmer weather, warmer climate, but changing schools for 5 kids just wasn't realistic. But now, at this point in my life, with my youngest child recently graduated, it was actually the perfect time for change. I had 2 ideas in mind that I could implement, for making this move. And the first was to buy a house that really needed a lot of rehab and would take a lot of time and effort to fix up. Or I could buy an RV and do a little traveling. So I decided, instead of buying the house that needed a lot of work, I chose the more flexible option and I bought an RV. So this is the kind of decision that can have a huge impact on your future self, and I'm going to illustrate that in a few moments here. But first, let's talk about what it actually means to become your future self. So think back on your life, maybe a year ago or even several years ago. What were the things that you cared about very deeply? What were the things that you didn't really care about at all? And how do those things compare to the things that you care about or don't care about right now? So if you ask a little child what they want to be when they grow up, they often have a lot of big ideas and dreams. They might talk about becoming an astronaut or a doctor, a lawyer, or maybe even the president. But as they become older, these ideas about their future change, and instead they may become interested in teaching or accounting, or maybe even starting their own business. Right now, at this moment, you are your past self's future self. You are the future version of your 5-year-old self. You are the future version of who you were last year. You are the future version of who you were even last week or yesterday. So what did you want to be when you grew up? Is that who you are today? What goals did you set last year? Did you accomplish them? How is your life different now than it was a year ago? You probably didn't turn out exactly the way you had dreamed when you were a kid. Your life isn't the same way that you thought it would be when you were younger. And that's because all the choices that you make along the way have created the life that you have today. The 5-year-old version of you might not recognize the adult version of yourself. In fact, they might not even like the adult version of who you became. Which brings us to the second question of why is it important to think about your future self? In Star Wars, Anakin Skywalker was a child who was born into slavery. And we see the beginning of his story when he's just 9 years old. And at that time, he had a lot of big dreams of becoming a Jedi Knight. And he was passionate about bringing peace to the galaxy. His dreams of becoming a Jedi Knight actually became a reality when he was introduced to and actually began his training with Obi-Wan Kenobi. So for a while, he was actually moving towards the future self that he had envisioned, but he faced a lot of challenges on his way to becoming a Jedi Knight. His transformation into Darth Vader was completely opposite to the ideals and visions he had when he was a child. Darth Vader was everything that the 9-year-old Anakin Skywalker had hated. So we might not really face the same challenges that Anakin Skywalker faced, but his story is important to remind us about the choices that we make in our lives and how they shape our destiny. And that's why it's important to continuously think about and work towards becoming your future self. The choices that we make today, they actually have a ripple effect that impact our future selves for better or for worse. So let's talk about this simple habit that can help us become our future selves. How do we consciously make choices to create the vision we have for our future selves? Let me share with you an example by giving you a glimpse into the typical morning of two different people, Madeline and Minerva. So Madeline wakes up and it's a soft glow of sunlight streaming through her window. She's feeling refreshed and she's ready to start her day. Her morning supplements and a glass of water are sitting by her bedside table, and she's ready to take them as soon as she gets out of bed. She heads to the bathroom, and there she finds everything she needs within easy reach, from her favorite mouthwash to all her grooming essentials. After tending to her self-care routine, she feeds and waters her cats and takes a few minutes to center herself in meditation before she actually starts her day. In the kitchen, she unloads the clean dishes from the dishwasher and she prepares her breakfast. Within an hour of waking up, Madeline has completed her morning routine and she's ready to start her workday. But Minerva, she's a different story because her morning unfolds in a whirlwind of chaos and frustration. After binging on her favorite Netflix series last night, she went to bed well past 2 a.m. And she wakes up later than normal after she's had a restless night's sleep. And she stumbles out of bed and starts tripping on stuff that's cluttered in her bedroom floor. She thinks about taking her supplements, but she has absolutely no idea where they're at. And she doesn't have time to look for them because she got up late. In the bathroom, there's even more chaos as she struggles to find what she needs. And there's just tons of clutter all over the counter. After she finally finishes her self-care routine, she goes to feed her cats, only to find out that she forgot to buy cat food. So she heads to her closet to get dressed, and she notices that her medication corner is buried under a pile of dirty laundry, which is another task that she forgot to do. So she skips her morning meditation and throws on some sweats and a ratty old t-shirt as she heads out to pick up cat food. As soon as she gets home, she feeds her cats and goes to the kitchen for her own breakfast, where she finds even more chaos and disorganization. She forgot to run the dishwasher last night, and there's not even enough yogurt for her own breakfast. So instead, she opts for a cold soda. She checks her hair and starts rummaging through the dirty clothes pile for a cleanest shirt that doesn't look too wrinkled so that she can wear to her morning Zoom meeting. She sits down, frustrated and frazzled, and she starts chatting with a friend and just complains about how her life is so chaotic and hectic and frustrating. Things just never seem to go right for her, no matter how hard she tries. Let me ask you, if there was one thing you could do today to make your tomorrow better, or even just a little bit easier, what would that one thing be? Future-focused actions is a simple but powerful habit that you can easily implement into your life to create significant change. Every day, Madeline commits to multiple future-focused actions over the course of the day to make things easier for herself. Every morning, she's able to start her day without the hassle and frustration because she plans to put herself in a better frame of mind to start work with her goals in mind. The peace and calm that she enjoys during her morning routine, it's just not good luck or something that happens by chance. She enjoys peace and calm by choice. She chooses to set out her supplements and her water so she can take them in the morning. Her bathroom is neat and organized because she puts everything away, and she chooses to make sure everything is easy to find. The cat food container is always full, and there's always a spare bag waiting to replace it once it's empty. The dishwasher is always run, and there's always a spare container of yogurt sitting in the fridge to be used once the open container is empty. Everything that Madeline needs to have a good morning is designed by her choice to make that happen. And how do I know that? Well, because at one time I was just like Minerva, constantly complaining about all the crap that happened to me and wondering why things couldn't be easier, why life was always crappy. So there was a time when I first became a single mom that things were actually a lot easier for me. I'd created a whole bunch of checklists and picture books with routines for my kids that made every morning smooth and seamless, from waking up to getting everyone out the door with minimal hassle and stress. But I failed to carry that habit of future-focused actions over into my other areas of life. And as the kids got older, I just kind of let things go, and I became more focused on the day-to-day hustle and grind of running my business. And I lost focus of what I wanted to create for my future. For years, I never realized that I was choosing the things that were happening to me. Life was chaotic, and I was miserable and unhappy. Days, weeks, months, they would all pass, and I would barely make any progress toward any of my goals. If I had just committed to future-focused actions like I had when my children were younger, life would have been so much easier, and I would have reached my goals more quickly. So, how can you commit to future-focused actions for yourself? It's actually best to start by doing things that will make the biggest impact in the short term, that frees you up to do things that will affect your long-term goals and visions. As I mentioned, when my kids were younger, I had a very organized daily routine for them and myself. This included things like prepping for the morning, where I had a coat rack that all their backpacks were hung up on. I taped a list that they checked every night and every morning. It was called the door checklist. And it helped everyone remember what needed to be done at night and what needed to be done in the morning. So this one small future-focused action ensured that permission slips were signed, homework was done, library books and any other essentials were packed in the backpack, and anything that needed to be grabbed on the way out the door was sitting right there. If I had just kept up with this one simple routine throughout the years, it would have made a huge difference. Life would have been so much easier for all of us. Thinking about and planning ahead for other daily mundane tasks and make a huge difference as well. For example, if you have a pet, buy an extra bag of food for them when you go shopping, so that you have a spare bag when the first bag is empty, and then just add it to your shopping list for the next time you go. For example, I have 2 tubs of yogurt in the fridge, and whenever I empty one, I put it on my shopping list right away. Another aspect that you can consider is just organizing one piece of your life to make things easier. This can maybe organize your bathroom counter or your cabinets and drawers to make your self-care routine easier every day and less stressed for you. The concept of focusing on future-focused actions actually goes beyond small, mundane things like being organized and setting yourself up for better mornings. You can also implement this habit of future-focused actions into your future goals, whether that means to commit to regular exercise routine to improve your health, investing in your education so that you can improve your employment skills or even your skills in your business, or prioritizing your self-care to reduce stress in your daily life. The important thing to do is to identify areas where you can make adjustments to align with your long-term goals and aspirations. By committing to future-focused actions that support your future self, you'll create a foundation for success and fulfillment in the years to come. Future-focused actions can also involve the decisions that you make on a day-to-day basis. For example, if Anakin Skywalker had committed to future-focused actions, he could have saved himself and a lot of other people a whole lot of grief and suffering. For example, when he was having those visions of his loved ones and they were suffering, and he started to worry about losing them, he could have simply talked to his Jedi mentors instead of keeping those struggles to himself. Instead of being frustrated by the slow pace of his Jedi training, he could have embraced patience and trusted the training process. When I made the choice to move out of state to a warmer climate, there were a lot of future-focused actions that I did for my future self that made it possible for me to experience financial freedom, less stress, and opportunities for personal growth. For example, after being a single mom for 20 years, I'd collected a lot of stuff. So I started downsizing everything I could. There were truckloads of stuff that were sold or given to family, donated to charity. And this future-focused action saved me money in the short term because it allowed me to rent a smaller storage unit. In the long term, I spent less money on a U-Haul to move everything when I finally moved into a house again. Another future-focused action was choosing the more flexible option of living in the RV instead of buying a house that needed to be rehabbed. When I initially made the decision to move, I had no idea where I wanted to move to. With the RV, I had the flexibility to change locations. Also, living in the RV was a lot less expensive than trying to rehab an old house, and it was definitely a whole lot less stressful. If there was one thing that you could do today to make tomorrow better, or even just a little bit easier, what would that one thing be? I'd love for you to leave a comment below and let me know, because I want to hear from you and what you can do to create a better future for yourself. One day, your future self will be your present self. By taking and making a commitment to your future-focused actions, you're setting yourself up for success and creating opportunities that you want to have in the future. So if you found this information helpful, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to sharing more videos and insights with you soon.